Welcome to the Visualize Meditations podcast, hosted by your friend Sasha Patil, a Chopra certified meditation teacher. The first step to creating the life of your dreams is to create a clear and compelling vision for what you want for the future. I'll be guiding you on visualization meditation so you can get clear on your deepest desires. Let's get started so you can turn your vision into a reality. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Visualize Meditations podcast. It's me, your gal pal Sasha. Hi. Hello. How are you? What the heck is up? To paint the scene for you right now, I'm currently in my bedroom in San Diego. And to be so honest with you guys, I tried recording this podcast 3 times in Balboa Park today, and the vibes just were not there. The vibes were not right. I don't know if I took too many gummies or if I just wasn't feeling the energy or what the fuck happened, but I just stopped recording halfway through. So I'm gonna give it another shot. The vibes are better. I'm hanging out cozy in my room, all cozied up. So let's get into it. As far as my personal update, at the time that I'm recording this, it's currently mid-February, and mid-February can be that time of year that you're absolutely looking forward to or you're absolutely dreading. And for me, I wasn't really dreading it, and I was looking forward to it because it's a 3-day motherfucking weekend, okay? So it's Valentine's Day. It's this weekend, and this is the first Valentine's Day I have not spent wrapped up in a boy since I was maybe 12 years old, which is fucking crazy. So it's been over a decade at this point, like 14 years, 15 years since I spent Valentine's Day alone and single and not worried about a boy. So what did I get up to? Friday after work, I had a wander, a flaneur. It's my favorite thing to do every Friday. Sign off, wander around. Flaneur is my favorite French word, which means to wander, to explore, to observe. And it's my favorite thing to do every Friday, no matter what city I'm in. Sign off, walk around, enjoy the world and the surroundings around you, and just explore. I had the best time, and it's not even over yet. Friday night, the Natural History Museum in San Diego was doing this event. I went out with my aunt. It was so cute. They had photo booths and a rooftop bar and a DJ and a band, and you get to walk through the Natural History Museum. And afterwards, we went around the corner to a local bar of mine, and I got hit on. It happens. I just feel like at this point, when I go out, you just can't avoid it at this point. And it was cute. It was fun. When I woke up the next day on Valentine's Day, I went to a local coffee shop, tried it for the first time, took some inspired action on the pod, spent some time reflecting, and I found this floating sound bath at a hotel nearby. And I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. So I called them, and turns out they had an extra spot. So they let me in, and it was so gorgeous. It was at the Sheraton Hotel in San Diego. And literally, they have you on these little pool floaties, and they have two people doing sound bath with the singing bowls, and you put something over your face. I swear to God, I was in a fucking trance because I swear that meditation was 5 minutes, but it was actually an hour. Oh my God, I was taken to another universe. It was so incredible. And they gave me access to the pool for the whole day. So I was there working by the pool, chilling out, reading, hanging out. And after my floating sound bath meditation, I came back to my house and I ordered an obscene amount of pasta and I watched 2.5 movies. And it was so fucking glorious. So, yeah, it was my first Valentine's Day as an adult, spending it by myself. And you know what? I really enjoyed it and really enjoyed myself. This is the first time I've had Valentine's Day not wrapped up in a boy. I was with my high school sweetheart for 4.5 years, and our anniversary was the day after Valentine's Day. And I was with my ex for 7 years, and our anniversary was on Valentine's Day. And last year, when I was single, I was entangled in a situationship with Dr. Leprechaun, if anyone remembers that. I feel like dates are milestones, and I feel like it's so impactful when I come across a date and I think about where I was in years prior, 1 year, 2 years, 5, 10 years in the past. And I think about where I am now compared to where I am then. I feel like dates are markers of time passing. For me, Valentine's Day is also a little more heightened because it was actually my anniversary with my ex. And the day after Valentine's Day was my anniversary with my high school sweetheart. So it brings up a lot of memories from my past. And I just wanted to share one memory with you guys. I'm going to share my favorite Valentine's Day that I ever did. And yes, this is a story with my ex. And yes, I understand we're not together anymore, but it's fucking epic. And why would I not share this story? Because listen, it was incredible. So, at the time, we were celebrating 6 years together, and normally we would have taken off a couple of days or the week of our anniversary to, go somewhere, hang out, chill out. And this year, my ex was drowning in work, so he couldn't take any time off. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to take the actual day off. I'm going to take the 14th off. You take it off too. It's a Wednesday, and we're just going to have the best day ever. And I'm not going to tell you what we're doing. And I'm like, okay, great. And the day before, on the 13th, he's like, okay, tomorrow it's going to be super, super cold. Wear your heaviest clothes. And at the time, we were living in Miami, and I was saying, where are we going? Are we sleeping in our own beds tomorrow night? He goes, yeah, we are. And I was like, okay, so we're not going anywhere overnight, but we're going somewhere really fucking cold. This makes no sense. And he's like, where's your favorite place on the earth? And I was like, New York. And he goes, we're going to your favorite place on the planet. And I'm like, we're going to New York. Now, keep in mind, he's a New Yorker, born and raised. And me, I loved living there. I lived there for a handful of years. But when you live there, you don't really tend to do the touristy things. And he knew there were some things I always wanted to do in New York and never got a chance to do them. So he planned a full day of surprises. So we got up at the crack of dawn the next morning and we took the first flight out to New York. We landed, we hit the new Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge at LaGuardia. It was incredible. And then we take a cab over to Bergdorf Goodman's for high tea. He knows I love afternoon tea, and he also knows I love getting a little stoned. And I took a little gummy and we did high tea, and it was the best experience. We had so much fun. And after, listen, I know it's corny, okay? It's always been a dream of mine to do the hop on, hop off bus. So we rode the hop on, hop off bus all the way around town. So we saw the Oculus. We went to Little Italy. We had dinner where he first asked me to be his girlfriend, and we wandered around the West Village, went to our favorite spots, and then we took the last flight out of New York back to Miami, and we spent a glorious 20 hours just enjoying the city that we used to call home. It was incredible. We fit an entire vacation into one day, and I really, really enjoyed that. And just, it goes to show, like, yeah, we weren't right for each other. And I can look back on these memories and smile at them because I'm so glad I got to experience that in my lifetime, even if I'm not with him anymore. Wow, like to be showered like that and to have someone plan something so thoughtful and so thorough made me feel really special. And even though we're not together anymore, I look back on it and I smile and it brings me joy. So, where am I now? I haven't talked about my romance life or my dating life on here in a while. And where am I right now? I'm single. And this is the first time I'm ever actually single, like not chatting with anybody, not talking with anybody. But listen, like my nose and getting a nose surgery is literally a natural cock block, which is so funny, but also so necessary right now. I'm really enjoying focusing on my career and focusing on my other relationships and my health and slowing down and taking my time. And it was something I was chatting about with my therapist is that, I've tended to jump into things very quickly. And now I'm taking the time to slow down and pause and be thoughtful and intentional, not just in my relationships, but in every single thing I'm doing. So I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling in a really good headspace right now. And that just goes to show you, like, even if you're alone on Valentine's Day, you know, I took myself out all weekend and I had the best time ever. And I really enjoyed spending quality time with myself. I think about this year and the years past, and I know that next year my life is going to look different, and I'm really cool with that. So it's just a really cool time to sit and reflect and think back and, think forward and just be grateful for everything I've gotten to experience this far in life. So Something I want to chat about right now is actually a question I've gotten from a listener, and that is how I organize my life and do my goal setting with the Wheel of Life and kind of an intro to feminine cycle syncing. So, I talk about the Wheel of Life a lot, and I talk about it a lot on my podcast with Josh Glanville, Mastermind Moments. We base our entire podcast off of this concept. The benefits I've seen personally from this is that my stress levels, especially this year with this new implementation, have really decreased, which has been feeling so good. Number two, if you're a woman listening to this, we are going to work with our body's natural clock instead of against it. And on top of those two things, you're also going to move towards becoming a better version of yourself every day by going towards your goals, being able to enjoy your life while you're still working towards your goals. And overall, just, this is for the type A bitches. And even if you're not type A and you want a little strategy session about how to go towards your goals, we're going to chat through it. So, this is what I want you to do, okay? I want you to picture a pizza pie or a regular pie if you're more of a sweet tooth. We're open here to every and all snacks, okay? So, picture some sort of pie, and each slice is a different area of life. This is based loosely off of Tony Robbins' Wheel of Life back in the day, and he had 8 sections at the time. I have increased it to 12, and I'm going to read through these sections right now. So, you have your physical health, you have your mental health, you have your physical environment, contribution, spirituality, friends, family, romance, career, finances, fun and recreation, personal growth. These are the areas that I see in life. There's some pillar ones that if they kind of get knocked down, they make everything else a lot harder. For example, the ones that Josh and I have kind of found are number 1, physical health, number 2, your romantic relationship, and number 3, your either career or finances, most likely finances. If those 3 fall down, it makes the rest of them a lot more difficult. So those kind of like hold the structure up, but they're all equally important. There are a lot of different ways to play with this system, right? What I like to do personally is I like to draw out my wheel, and I like to set goals and intentions in each of these areas every year. So I'll do anywhere from 3 to 5, and these are my goals for the year. I think it's important to make them specific and measurable, because when I go back and look at the data, I typically achieve 70 to 90% of my goals. So make sure it feels a little out of reach, a little scary, but also exciting as hell. And if the goal does not excite you, don't put it down. That's something that we've learned too. And something that I find really important with the system is even if it's not in one year, like, yes, New Year's goals like have a bad rap because we put so much pressure on ourselves to get the goals achieved. But here's the thing, we set plans and God laughs. So it's okay to write the things down that you want. And even if that doesn't come true this year, you know that you're working towards them and it'll happen eventually. Let me give you guys an example. I started this goal setting system in 2018. And at the time, I wrote down in my physical health category that I wanted to run a marathon. Okay. And did I run a marathon in 2018? No, I did not. I think I ran a 5K in 2019, to be honest with you. So, no, I did not run a marathon by any means, but I did end up running that marathon in 2023, 5 years later. So it's okay to write something down and then know that you're working towards it and you'll get it eventually. You don't need to put a ton of pressure on yourself to get it done in one year, but it should feel exciting to do within a year. Every year I build on the system. This year, I did it in a table and I added in a little column of how I'm going to make it measurable. For example, in my spirituality section, I have live in heart space. What the fuck does that mean? How the fuck are you supposed to measure living in your heart space? What? So, truthfully, I asked AI, I was like, these are my goals and intentions. Can you give me brainstorm ideas of how I can make it measurable? And basically, it spat out a bunch of stuff. And I have a column listing how I can make it measurable. And I keep track of all this data about if it's in progress, if it's done, things like that, notes about my ideas with it. So that's how I set up the wheel of life and goals in each area of the wheel of life. Now, these goals can be really overwhelming when you put them all on paper. You're like, oh my God, how the fuck am I going to achieve all of these things that seem so far, so out of reach? What I did the following year in 2019 was I decided to break down those goals and work backwards. For example, let's go with the marathon thing again. If I have a goal to run a marathon, I know I need to run 10 miles by this many weeks before. I know I need to run 15 miles by this many weeks before. And you schedule in when you're going to achieve these goals. So now you have a roadmap to get to the actual goal you want to achieve. And then you're on your way, right? And guys, again, easier said than done. Like, yes, you work towards your goals, and as long as you're making some sort of progress, that's all that matters. You don't have to do it perfectly. Showing up imperfectly is better than not showing up at all. So, another thing with the goal setting is it needs to be measurable and have a deadline. So we know we have the year, or I also suggest like doing this kind of reflection around your birthday. Ladies, if you're on your period, do this reflection while you're on your bleed. You know, you're much closer to your truth when you are on your period. So sit down and figure out, when you want to achieve these things by, and also make them measurable. For me, so that's how I base the wheel of life. There are a lot of ways to use this tool. For example, you could rate it 1 to 10, and let's say you're coloring in as if it's like a coloring book on this pizza pie. You're coloring in like where you are 1 to 10, if 10's being like the full circle. And then you could see if your wheel would spin nicely. In mastermind moments, we always say that, it's very normal for areas of life to waver and to change at any given moment, any given time. There are times in life where certain areas are going great and other areas are not. For example, maybe your career is great, but your friendships are sucking because you never see your friends or you never call them. What I started doing this year is if I'm looking at the table, I have a different column for every area of life. So every week I'm going and marking on a scale from 1 to 10 where I'm at in each of these areas. And it's varied a lot. For example, my physical environment, fun and recreation, friends and family were 10 out of 10 last week. And I had a 9 out of 10 mental health. But romance was a 1. As you guys know, by being single on Valentine's Day, romance is a 1. It's like non-existent right now, but also like really okay with that. So I go through and I track it every week and I just write a little blurb about what I did that week. At the end of the year, I'm going to pull a lot of data, graphs, charts, and maybe even like a month at a time I'll do that. But just keeping track of the data, just to think about how I was this year. Other things that I track here, I'm tracking it in my Notion, but I also track it sometimes in my bullet journal, okay? I have the goals based on Wheel of Life. I have my time blocking and cycle syncing, which we're going to get into. We have the Wheel of Life rating it each section of the week. I have, and then blank lists for books, lessons, moments, skills. And then I have a whole bottom section for just like reflections. Like if I'm having thoughts or brain dumps, I'll throw them down there. I also have like a little tab for, oh, look what I did now to keep track of what I'm doing. And then I have another little tab for things to follow up on later. Am I type A crazy bitch? Yeah, I am. I can build out a template on Notion if you guys want that. I live by this thing. So one thing that I want to go back to is this schedule syncing, time blocking situation. And this has been the aspect of tracking my year that has really helped with my stress management. I've talked about it so many times on this podcast. I have felt really controlled by my mountain of to-do lists. Last year I had 4 ongoing to-do lists. It was my to-do list for my 9 to 5, my to-do list for the podcasts, my travel list. All that travel had a lot of logistics to plan, and my admin list. And that thing ruled my life and really was very stressful. I felt like, I carried it around with me all the time. If I felt stressed out, I was just rewriting all the time, and I still am falling back into that a little bit. So essentially what I did around the new year is I brain dumped everything that was in my head. The to-do list, the things I want to do for rebranding the podcast, my 9 to 5, what I want to work on in projects there, admin, how much I wanted to connect with friends and family, which friends and family I wanted to connect with. I brain dumped everything. And then I split up each task by my phase and my feminine cycle. And I think I'm going to do an entire episode on this too. about cycle syncing because I swear to God, there are a handful of things that revolutionize my health, but this is one of them. I don't know why we don't work in alignment with our body's natural clock, but when I'm in sync with my cycle, oh my God, I'm unstoppable. I'm fucking unstoppable. So, okay, I'm gonna do a whole episode about cycle syncing in general, essentially just to get you up to speed. There are 4 phases of our feminine cycle, okay? Everyone knows about ovulation and menstrual. Menstrual is when you're bleeding. This is the last week of your cycle. The first week of your cycle is follicular. It's right after you're finishing bleeding. I'm personally going to follicular right now. There are things that are best for each phase of your cycle. It can be your food, your workouts, your socialization, your romance. There are ways to organize everything. For this specifically, I'm going to chat about like your work and your tasks. In follicular phase, it's great for brainstorming, collaboration, trying new things, scheduling out what you're going to be doing for the next month, week, quarter, whatever, like kind of doing your time blocking. And it's great planning out your next month, time blocking based on the things that you reflected on during your period. Okay, so follicular is great for those kinds of things. Next is your ovulation phase. And this phase, you are best in your communication. So schedule your meetings, schedule your calls, your presentations, negotiations, events, anything like that during your ovulation phase. If you're doing reach out, do that. If you're editing copy or writing copy, or I record all of my episodes in ovulation. I batch my meditations and I record them all when I'm ovulating because I know that my communication is going to be the best. So any speaking that you're doing, any writing, best to do it in ovulation. After ovulation is luteal, and luteal is it's that week right before your period, and you know that because you're hungry as fuck and you're a moody motherfucker. Okay. Luteal is the best for the admin work, the grime, the grit, the like things that you keep putting off that you don't want to do, the admin work that doesn't take as much creativity but like just needs to get done. If you have like little tasks around the house too, great time to do that. Like for me, I do my accounting in this phase. I'll do like filling out. If I have any paperwork to fill out or taxes or things like that, I'll do that in my luteal. In menstrual, it's best for rest and reflection. So do nothing. Do the bare minimum about what needs to happen and then reflect. Sit and reflect on what you did last month, what you want to do next month, your goals in general, your performance. Just think through all of it and just sit, reflect, chill out, take breaks, slow down, chill. And then all of those things that you reflected on, you'll put into action items for follicular to plan out when you're going to do all those things. So it all kind of works together and it all kind of flows together. And separate all the tasks that you brain dump into different phase of your feminine cycle. And then this piece here is new and improved. And this is the thing that's helped my stress levels so much is time blocking. Go through your week, set up a calendar, look at your week, and by chunks of time, block out when you're going to do different things. For example, for me, I have my 9 to 5 job from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm working my 9 to 5 job. And then I have a couple hours in the afternoon to work on the pod and like the evenings to chill, rest, hang out. If I want to hang out with a friend that week, movement, whatever, that goes in that time. This is how it all comes together. We already brain dumped and organized all of the action items that we had by your feminine cycle. You can go back and see when your last period was. If your period's a little irregular, it'll help by going phases of the moon, and you'll go in and you'll block out these chunks of time and be like, okay, for my work, my ovulation tasks are in here for this week, yada yada, and you block out your time and then put each task in the blocks depending on where you are in your feminine cycle based on the week. And it's so helpful to me because I feel like I'm not looking at my mountain of my to-do list anymore. I'm just looking at what needs to happen in that block. And I also want to add a couple caveats here. Number one, base this out over a period of time. For me, I planned it all through the next quarter. So I have all of my things scheduled out until the next quarter. And then towards the end, I will probably in follicular, I'll go and I'll figure out the next thing. So organize it all by a period of time. Do your best not to overload yourself, and it's okay to move things that are not as sensitive. I also want to caveat that life is real. Life is so real. For example, if you're working for someone and you can't control when you do things when you do them, then obviously you have to do the basic functions of your job to make sure the work gets done. Point blank, period. The caveat to this is don't overload yourself. Do your best to make it feasible and break down all of these things into bite-sized chunks, because for me, the thing that I found really stressful was looking at my list and just feeling constantly overwhelmed by all the shit that I, quote, had to do or must do. It is super important that in your time blocking, you also block in rest and downtime. It is vital. It's vital when you do it for the week of your period, schedule in way more of it. But every week, schedule in time for downtime, for play, for fun, for pleasure, for rest, for connecting with friends and family, for the enjoyable things as well. Space for pleasure, space for connecting with things that make you feel good. So those are my caveats there. This system, I've been building on it since 2018, and I feel like it's helped me so much. And the coolest thing ever is to go back and look at the data and to look at what happened in years past. And I literally have a log of everything that I wanted to do and did. It's a system that I've been building. So I hope you guys enjoy that and listen. I know it can be a really type A thing, and I know it can feel really overwhelming, but you don't have to do all of it. Maybe you take a piece of how I organize my life and goal setting and you implement it in your life. Or maybe you learn a little bit more about cycle syncing. I don't know. What was your takeaway from this episode? Let me know what really stood out to you. I definitely need to chat about cycle syncing way more, and you guys have requested it, and I will follow through. I promise. I'm gonna do an episode on that really soon. Guys, I know my type A ass is so crazy that I built this goal setting and life enjoyment system over the last 8 years, and I'm finally chatting through the whole thing. I got really caught up in the achievement of it all, and at the end of the day, it is equally as important to enjoy your life while you're also going towards your dreams. If you can dream it, you can create it. And at the same time, if you're not enjoying it along the way, you're going to get to the goal and be like, now what? So are you enjoying it on the way? Are you enjoying the journey on the way? All right, y'all. If you guys have any other requests for things for me to chat about, let me know. Leave me a little comment. I've gotten on a couple calls with you guys, and I absolutely love talking to you guys so much. And it's so wild. The testimonials just drive me nuts. And I really love being able to chat with you guys. So let's chat. What did you do for Valentine's Day? I need to know. And what do you think about the goal setting system? Did you have any takeaways from the episode? And what do you want me to chat about next time? Let's talk about it, please. And we will catch you guys next week on the Visualize Meditations podcast. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Visualize Meditations podcast. Please follow, subscribe, leave a review, all of the good things. If you want to connect more, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Visualize Meditations. So what are you waiting for? Get out there, create the life of your dreams, and we will see you next week.